to another edition of the Bullheaded Podcast. We are here with Zoo and P. Bush. How we doing, guys?
Doing great,
Best
man. It's been a hell of a week.
Ever, man. Best week ever, man. Incredible week. I got hype on a Monday, man. I was hype on a Monday, man. It was beautiful.
Yeah, that's rare.
Yeah. Man, I think you guys could hear the enthusiasm from my co-host. NBA free agency happened earlier this week, and a lot of moves happened, a lot of re-signings, a lot of misses. I'm going to talk to the guys about that, and I think I'm going to start with Zoo and get his thoughts on the winners and losers of this free agency.
Oh, the Chicago Bulls fan base, baby. That's the biggest winner, man. Do you know why? Because AK and Mark Eversley showed up, man. We know why we signed these dudes. Because they are making moves immediately, man. You know what they do? First, trade deadline, they get Vukovic because they want an all-star at center position. Next, we need a point guard. We want a point guard. They even alluded to this. They wanted Lonzo Ball at the trade deadline. David Griffin, they couldn't get a deal done. But then, man, you know what they said at the press conference? We ain't done yet, man. No. We ain't done yet. So I was like, oh, they got some stuff cooking up, man. They do some tampering, make some connections. Lonzo Ball, Rich Hall, man. They got that deal done within 2 seconds of free agency, man. That deal's already done. We even heard rumors about Lonzo Ball, $80 million to the Chicago Bulls getting leaked out early. So this deal was probably done a couple months early, man. Because AK's on top of this shit, man. They are at the house. They are with Rich Paul. They're building connections with agents. They have good relationships. Boom, we got our point guard, man. No more Kobe White as a point guard, man. No more Archie Diacono as a point guard, man. No more days of the Cameron Paynes and the Shaquilles at point guard. We got a true point guard in Lonzo Ball, man.
Yes,
and you know what else we did? We got a little backup in Caruso, baby. Reuniting the Lakers backcourt, man. We got some defense. We got some shooting. We finally got a playmaker, a guy that can actually get 10 assists. Because, like, man, our point guards the past couple of years, man, nobody knows how to get people involved, man. We got no true point guard. Like, Zach LaVine's our lead assist guy, and that guy's a bucket. He ain't a passer. He's a bucket. So, Lonzo Ball at the point guard position. But, oh, my Lord. But the AKA and Mark Eversley weren't done yet, man. Oh, day two. Oh, DeMar DeRozan, man. You know what he did? Mark Eversley's like, man, I got connections in Toronto. I got good relationship. Him and DeMar DeRozan. He went to DeMar DeRozan's house. He flew to L.A., showed up to DeMar DeRozan and be like, yo, I want to bring you to Chicago, man. We're trying to build a winning culture, man. Here's $28 million. Let's get it done, man. So what that means, we got 3 All-Stars now, man. Yeah. We run from 0 All-Stars to 3 All-Stars in a year and a half, man. Ever since AK has shown up, man. What they've done in the last year and a half? No, it's barely been a year, man. It's barely been a year because last year from right now, we had Jim Boylan, man. I forget we had Jim Boylan guard passing a year ago. But after last season's pathetic performance, they fired everyone, got a new management in, and look what these guys done in, man, just maybe a little over a year. Incredible, man. They completely flipped the roster over. We got 3 All-Stars. We got a starting point guard, Lonzo Ball, man. And we got the up-and-coming stud, Patrick Williams. The future is bright. We got young assets. We got some older stars, and we got a little middle-aged stars. And my boy, Zach LaVine, that boy's going to get a nice max next year. And maybe not this year, but next year, he's going to be getting a nice max extension, and he'll deserve it, man. He's in Tokyo right now, about to win a gold medal, 1 game away from a gold medal. Man, this guy from an all-star to Olympian, this guy's going to be all NBA conversations next year.
Oh, okay. Zoo, you got high hopes for the Bulls. Before I get into my spiel, where do you have them in the playoffs because of all these moves?
4th seed, baby.
Okay.
4th seed, man. We're going to host a playoff series, man. We got 4th seed, man. And the talent level, man, has supremely gone up the past 3 days. And we ain't done yet. We still have Lauri Markkanen's restricted contract right there. So maybe we could flip in a sign and trade to get even more assets to load up the bench because the bench needs some work right now. But the starting lineup looks nice right now, just building up that bench. And Lauri Markkanen right now, he's a trade chip.
Well, Zoo, I agree with you. I mean, I think they need to move both of them. I'm pumped with all these moves. I mean, this was ridiculous. I mean, in a 2-day span, I mean, this team went from, expecting maybe an 8th seed play-in game type of show. Even with Lonzo, I don't think that would have been enough to put them in where you were saying, Zoo, 4th, 5th contention in the East. But man, when they added DeMar DeRozan, I was like, okay, now we got a veteran guy who's been there and done that, right? He's been there, been in big games. I know he wasn't, champion, right? He wasn't on that team in Toronto, but hey, I'll take him any day of the week. He's actually learned to play the power forward position, which I think is actually huge because one, he can mentor Patrick Williams a little bit, so they can kind of switch between the 3 and 4. I love that dynamic. He's much more aggressive interior. He completely neglects the 3-pointer still, which I hope he just comes in a Bulls uniform and starts raining threes, but I know that's not going to happen. But look, man, I think we got a solid starting 5, Zoo. I think we have, one super notable guy on the bench right now in Caruso. If they end up moving Kobe and Laurie for maybe more veteran present guys, we're seeing Miami move PJ Tucker in, right, for defensive to kind of lock down their end. I think the Bulls need to do one more because they have 2 good perimeter defenders now in Caruso and Lonzo Ball. Lonzo's no slouch on defense. He loves transition game, and the best way he can get into that is by playing pressure defense, getting steals, right? And there's one thing about Lonzo's game that I absolutely love, man. His outlet passes are ridiculous. I love how he just gets out and gets his teammates involved. He's not necessarily a court, end-to-end kind of guy. He wants to get everybody involved, move the ball around. He's a Jason Kidd, man. That's really what he is. He's a Jason Kidd type player.
But he got that jump shot, man.
Yeah.
Hey, he went from this to this, man.
Zoo,
he is fixed his shot.
And don't you forget, Jason Kidd's top 5 in 3-pointers made of all time, man. So he was no slouch. And I think Lonzo's going to come in, and I think he's going to fit really well. He's on a young team, but with a little bit more experience than the team he was on previously with the Pelicans. And God knows how bad those Lakers were when he was on them for your stint. But look, man, I think that the only thing I could say bad about the Bulls free agency, and this isn't even that bad, is I wish they could have been able to keep Daniel Tice. I think that would have been a huge guy to keep around for the bench.
Honestly, he got $30 million, didn't he?
Was nothing. Yeah, he got the full mid-level exception. They $9 million a year.
Yeah, I'm not saying that they should have offered to pay him, but with all these other moves that they were making, if they could have convinced Tice to stay so they didn't have to sign Bradley, I mean, that's not even really a downside. I mean,
as a minimum dude, and he's a good defensive player.
Exactly, he's a good defense. He can hit a jump shot. He would be good to back up Vucevic, right? Maybe Paul as well. But if that's your only downside, man, I got to give the Bulls an A- in this free agency. I don't think they've done nearly anything at this level since Rose, and that was pure luck, man. That was luck getting that lottery,
man. I could have drafted D Rose.
Exactly. Man. So they have not been able to take risks, and I will say this DeMar signing is a risk. I think it is the biggest risk that they've taken in a long time. But I'm all about it, man. Look, they're not making the playoffs. They're not selling, the way that they used to, right? Ticket sales. They're not, the sellouts that we'd seen at the United Center for 10 plus years, right? I think that they had sold out. And look, man, they're trying to make some moves. Props Arturas, man, any day of the week. This guy's one of the best GMs in the league. He's got the connections. But man, oh man, I'm excited to watch this Bulls. Azu, I got him at the 5th seed next year. I think there are some other teams that could give them a little bit of strife. I got the Bucks, the Nets. I still think the Sixers could cause them some problems. I know that Ben Simmons, right? Warriors, all that fun stuff, obviously. And we can get into it.
You're Ben Simmons. He won't even return the phone calls of the 76ers right now, man. They're not talking to each other.
No, I'm not saying that. But look, they still have a good team, man. And maybe by getting Ben Simmons out of there, they can refocus as a group. Because I think that a lot of it has to do with all the egos in there. Ben Simmons not wanting to work. There's something going on in that locker room. And they need to deal with that because I think our locker room is going to be great this year. Let's hope. Fingers crossed. But, man, I still think the Bulls are going to be middle of the pack unless they just blow each other away. But then again, I did just put a $25 bet on the Bulls to win the championship to win $1,800. So I got a little bit of hope in me too.
Oh my God. That's crazy. That's actually a really good value.
Great odds, man.
Really good value.
I did it right after they signed DeMar within the hour.
Man, I'm just saying, the talent level, we got up a level. And what they're doing right now, they're trying to build a winning culture, right? So in the future, the next upset superstar might be looking at Chicago for once. That's now true. And be like demanding a trade to the Chicago Bulls. You see a nice young team with some nice all-stars. They're winning games. And maybe do a little flip a trade, man. So it's about building a winning culture, being a desirable destination for the next upset superstar, Damian Lillard.
Interesting.
And then try to make that happen. But to do that, you got to win first and make the playoffs. So that's what they're doing right now. And getting DeMar DeRozan increases your chance of making playoffs. So pretty much just a full marketing pitch of the rest of the league right now. The next up-and-coming young stars out there and be like, hey, man, maybe I want to come to Chicago and play with Zach LaVine, an Olympian, Lonzo Ball, a great passer. So that's what they're doing, making a desirable location right now.
So that's what we hope he's talking about over there in Tokyo, man. Talking to people.
Oh, yeah.
Man. He's like, hey,
talking,
boys,
man.
You see what my team's doing right now? Hey, a couple years, man. Hit me up. That's what I hope he's dropping.
And this is definitely not happening if Jim Boylan was the head coach. Because nobody want to play for Jim Boylan.
But Billy Donovan, they'll play for him, man. He's just, the biggest concern I have, obviously, is one, I think they do need to fix up their bench a bit. And then two, I think they really need to just focus on team defense, man, because they have good individual defenders, but they sucked last year, man. They were so bad on defense. And if they could take that step, I'd be more comfortable putting them in the mix for, that fourth spot, heck, even pushing, those top three teams out possibly. So, hey, look, I think it'll take more than just 1 year and, these couple moves. They still got to work together. But look, man, they get a full training camp this year. It's back to pretty much the regular schedule. So it's going to be a hell of a time to watch this team. I'm finally got hope in Chicago sports in general. It's just a great feeling, man. It's just a great feeling.
Man, you see when you got a competent GM, like it makes your team a lot easier to root for,
That's
man.
true.
A lot easier, man. Oh my goodness, man.
But look, man, there were a couple other solid teams that put in work this time, man. I mean, the Heat. What did you think about
your thoughts about Miami? No, because my thoughts about Miami is Kyle's fat ass got paid $90 million, man.
Come on, man. Don't do that.
Dude, this guy got paid, man, because the Miami Heat, like the Bulls, they're trying to go all in right now. They're trying to win now. Because Pat Riley ain't getting any younger, man. He wants to win a ring to be like, I don't need you, LeBron. I want to win a ring without you, but good luck, because Kyle Lowry is one of the most overrated players in the NBA, man. He only got a ring because, as Sean said last week, Kawhi's ring, man. He was riding on the bandwagon, man. He wasn't even riding shotgun. He was back in the trunk, man. He was laying eggs in the playoffs. But Pascal Siakam showed up in the playoffs. Yep. So Kyle Lowry got a little clout after winning a ring. I was watching that finals. Kyle Lowry was bricking everything. So Kyle Lowry's a nice, he's a minor upgrade to Goran Dragic. Like offensively, Goran Dragic is really good in the playoffs.
Yeah, but he's been getting injured a lot.
Yeah, that's true. But Kyle Lowry's an upgrade on defense because he's a pit bull. He gets up on offensive players. But out of that, I'm like, Kyle Lowry, $30 million a year.
That's a lot of money.
That's overpaid.
It is a lot.
Dude's like 34, 35 years old.
He's not getting younger.
34, 35. Those later years are going to be real bad. Maybe next year he falls off a cliff. But last year he actually had a decent year, 17.7 assists. He better be as productive as that because Jimmy Butler vouched for him. They had a relationship because they all went over to pretty much overseas, man. Yeah. Overseas, man. You bond overseas. They're really good friends. They wanted to play together. And they got some guys that get D up now. Like Miami Heat's defense.
PJ?
Yeah, PJ Tucker. That guy's legit only in the NBA for defense because his offense is ass, man. All he does is stand in the corner and shoot threes. And he's not even that good at shooting open threes. But defensively, really solid.
He could be a top 5 perimeter defender in the league towards the end of that list. But I mean, there's some damn good defenders in the league, and he's up there, man. Yeah. I mean, there's a reason he got paid. The reason he was always in the rotation for the Bucks there towards the end in those stretches, man. He's a heart and soul guy, and he has veteran experience, and nobody wants to screw with him, man. You see PJ Tucker, man, you're like, okay, all right, man. You got to respect him because he's gonna be a physical defender. He's all about that, man.
And shout outs,
I don't know.
I got shout outs to Duncan Robinson.
Yeah.
The highest paid undrafted NBA player ever. That contract, biggest ever, $90 million. Well deserved for being one of the probably top 5 shooter in the NBA right now.
Absolutely.
Catch and shoot, movement off the ball.
A little too much money, in my opinion.
Yeah, they definitely paid a little above what's his actual value.
75, maybe 75.
$90 million, 18 mil a year.
No,
Wow.
I know. I'm saying 15 million a year down to even like 12 would probably be more in his like a 5-year, 50 million or $60 million deal, 75, something like that.
You know what I think that was? I think somebody was probably giving him that, so they had to pay him that.
Yeah,
Somebody
that's
was
true.
probably gonna be
You're
willing
right.
to give him. I think that's what a lot of these deals are. Is you probably hear around the way
You're
that
right.
hey, we're looking at Duncan for 5 years, 90, so you have to pay that because you don't want to lose him.
That's true.
So
You're right.
that probably what
Yeah,
it
we
was.
don't.
But yeah,
I wish we could see behind closed doors, man. That'd be fantastic
Yeah, I know,
to
right?
watch that process. Damn,
Yeah.
especially if you're negotiating for Duncan Robinson, man. He's probably just smiling the entire time in that boardroom. Like,
And it's
I'm about to get
tax-free.
paid $90 million.
and it's tax free, so that makes it even more sweet.
All right, no state income tax, man.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
That makes it even more sweet. That makes the Kyle Lowry deal even more like.
Oh, yeah, Kyle Lowry you go from Toronto, Texas to Miami.
God.
Exactly.
Man,
saving tens of millions, man, over that contract.
I think Kyle would have been better as like a 2 for 50. I would have gave him that.
A short
I wouldn't
deal?
have gave him 2
Yeah,
for
his
50
value
because I
is
don't know.
around more like the 20, like mid
That's
20s,
true.
low 20s. But whoever
I
his
think-
agent is, bravo, bravo.
Yeah,
you got your
absolutely.
client
Right.
a lot of money, man.
I also think it's the Chris Paul effect. I think everybody saw
Yeah.
because they got to the freaking finals.
Yeah,
Everybody
Chris.
thinks now you need a point. You need that point guard, and Kyle Lowry is kind of. I mean, you could probably argue he was the best on the market. So it's like let's just pay him.
Man, the problem is he ain't Chris Paul.
Yeah, I know.
man.
He's nowhere near
Chris
close.
Paul. Shout
You
out
want
to
to talk
Chris
about
Paul.
a winner?
Yeah, man,
You
that
wanna
guy
talk
got
about his bank
paid, man. $40 million.
Yeah. At 4,
Man.
and he's going to be 40.
Oh my lord,
He's
man!
getting that
For
contract at
120,
36.
man. 120 at 40
That's
years old. He's gonna be
ridiculous.
making over 30 million at 40 years old, man. Oh my god, man!
That's
Good
ridiculous,
luck,
man.
Good luck to the Suns, guys. When CP3 gets old or falls off a cliff and retires, that team's over, man.
Yeah, it is. They're putting all their chips in.
They're going all in. Till I feel like this year, especially this year, after seeing the Milwaukee Bucks like win the championship over the Phoenix Suns,
After going
people
all
are,
in.
Yeah, people are like, dang, we could have won the championship if we put some of our chips in the middle. And I feel like everybody's loading up because there's no clear favorite right now. Because obviously right now there's no Warriors, obviously. And even like the Lakers are old and injured now. Kawhi Leonard's out for the entire year. So the NBA is a little wide open right now. So I feel like a lot of people are spending money trying to go all in right now, which is pretty exciting to see.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of that, I mean, the Russell Westbrook move, I mean, that was not really a shock. I mean, going out to LA, but I will say, then, I think
that was a great trade for the Lakers, man.
I think it was a great trade for the Lakers, but I also think the Wizards, it kind of like, now it doesn't solve their problems, but look, man, it's Bradley Beal's team. They tried the Russell Westbrook thing. It kind of worked there for a little bit at the end, but they actually have some decent role players now.
Yeah.
Like they can
They got a
kind
lot
of start
of
to
role
build,
players.
they can kind of start to build their team back up, kind of like what the Bulls did over the past 3 years or so. That's kind of where they're at, man. They have their Zach LaVine, obviously. Bradley Beal's a better scorer.
They got Dinwiddie.
They got and I was just going to say that. I think Spencer Dinwiddie, man, props to him, man, because he has rose through the ranks over the years, man, just slowly but surely. And now he's getting that $20 million a year contract. Shout out to him, man. He got a nice one. John Collins, too, man, getting paid on that extension.
He got the 125, didn't he?
125,
Yeah, he did.
man.
You were right. Yeah, you were
He
right.
got the
Sean.
125. Wow.
Wow.
25 a year, man. So there were a ton of moves, man, and I really don't think that there were that many losers that partook in sign-in trades, any trades like that. But I will say there are teams that did not pull trigger on things, and there were losers there, man. And I got to go straight for the Trailblazers, man. They are trying to keep
my God.
Damian Lillard, and all they really do
Yeah,
is
man.
re-sign Norman Powell.
5
Are you
years,
kidding?
90.
Are you
5
kidding?
years, 90.
I'd
They
rather-
overpaid for him.
Maybe they
Because
were
they
the
had
ones
to.
maybe they were the ones trying to match for Duncan Robinson. It's very
Maybe.
possible because I think that would have been a good move for them.
You forgot who else they got. They got Tony Snell.
Oh, you're right. They did get Tony Snell. Oh, I forgot. It slipped my mind, man.
Who else? Oh, yeah, they also signed Cody Zeller.
Like, what are they doing, man? Like, everybody in the league is trying to get in the rumor mill for Lillard. Everybody's trying to get involved with it. What are they doing, man? I mean, like that was the biggest loss for me was how they handled their possible moves, who was available, all that, man. I don't know. It blew my mind, man.
Man,
I couldn't believe it.
how does Neil O'Shea still have a job? Like I don't think this GM has done nothing. Has done nothing, man. Couldn't even keep Melo, man. Melo left the team.
And he's ring chasing hard now at this point.
Yeah.
That's the funny part.
Oh yeah,
He just used
Oh,
Portland as like his proving ground, and then he got out of there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. He's gonna try to go for a rate. And I forgot they also signed Ben McLemore.
Oh, There's a name you haven't heard. I only remember him from Kansas.
Yeah, I think they're trying to do their best impersonation of trying to get Dame out of there. I think that's what they're
honestly,
trying
But I low-key have a feeling, man. The New York Knicks are prepping for Damian Lillard, demanding a trade. Like what they did this year is pretty much they re-signed all their guys. They overpaid a lot. Like D Rose got paid $14 million a year. Like all these role players getting paid $10 million. Like, even Nerlens Noel got a nice 3-year contract, $30 million. And Evan Fournier, oh man, that guy got paid, man. Maybe it's his Olympic performance that made that salary rise up because he was killing the U.S. Man, that dude was dropping buckets in the Olympics. But what they're doing right now, they also signed Kemba Walker yesterday, man. So they got a nice little free agent. Man, they re-signed their guys. They added Kemba Walker and Evan Fournier. Like talent-wise, they got them better, but they're still just like they're an average playoff team right now. They're sort of in the middle right now. But what they're doing is getting some nice tradable contracts for a potential Damian Lillard demanding a trade in the future.
You're right. Yeah,
I think that's what they're doing because obviously if Damian Lillard's be like, "Yo, get me out of here," and I want to go to the Knicks or something, like Portland's going to respect Dame because he's been with the franchise for almost 10 years now, and then the Knicks will be like, "Yo, we got all our draft picks. We got these nice little contracts like Evan Fournier 3-year deal, Kemba Walker 2-year deal." Like all these little contracts that are very tradable. So I feel like that's what they're prepping for. I think that's what they're prepping for right now. So we'll wait and see. Knicks right now are still chilling, but wait till the next big free agent or next superstar demands a trade, and maybe you'll be like, I want to go to the Knicks and try to win a championship there.
Now, you don't think that Portland would ask for Julius Randle?
They also extended Julius, so they got a lot of tradable assets right now. That maybe
you'd trade Julius, you'd give up like the second possible guy being there just to get Lillard.
Yes.
And then you'd wait for a free agency and sign a second? Is that
exactly?
Okay.
Or maybe do a double.
All right. Let's just play this out because I think this is the biggest NBA topic that hasn't happened yet. Yeah. Either that and maybe Ben Simmons, right? The whole Ben Simmons. Whatever. We talk about Ben Simmons a little too much on this podcast. But Lillard, man, so if he goes, let's say he gets traded to New York and they trade, whomever, the Knicks trade whomever, who do you have them going after in free agency to pair up with him? Because that's, I think, the biggest question. Or else he's just going to be by himself in Madison Square Garden trying to get 50 a night.
Oh, yeah. Damian Lillard obviously doesn't want to be a one-man show.
No, he's doing that right now.
But the free agency, man, it's interesting because there's a lot of guys that could be potential opt-out, man. We don't know if the Brooklyn Nets people are going to stay together.
That's true.
None of them have got extended yet. So there's a lot of guys, like even Kawhi Leonard right now, he hasn't re-signed. So there's a lot of guys that want options open. So I feel like in 2-3 years, the whole free agency scheme could completely change, that all these stars could demand trades and want to play with each other. So I feel like it's just wide open for anyone right now. Even if they're signed on a contract, man, demanding a trade. Like, you see how James Harden got his butt out there the minute he was just like, you just show up, go to a strip club, and then he got his wish to go to Brooklyn Nets. So, like, these stars got so much leverage that it doesn't even matter if they're a free agent. Like, if you got 1-2 years on your contract, you can still pretty much dictate where you want to be because, like, if you just act out, no one wants to have a star that doesn't want to be there. So they're going to try to trade you to get as many assets
the media nowadays.
Definitely right now. So I just have a feeling. Like right now, it's gonna be crazy because right now the Bulls and Knicks might be relevant at the same time for once.
First time since what, the 90s?
Yeah, since like Patrick Ewing and Michael Jordan, man.
Yeah,
the only person.
No, go ahead, Sean.
The only person I could think of, it depends on the timeline of when Dame would get traded. But the only person I can think of that's in that 1 to 2 year contract range is Beal. That's the only one I can think of. Like if Dame got out in I guess a year from now. Was able to get to New York, and then Bill, I guess, because I think he's got 1 year left, right?
Yeah.
So he could just, ride that out, and then his free agency, he can go team up with Dame in New York. But that's the only one I can think of, because I don't know who's really available.
That's the thing is it's a little far out. Like if you're thinking about like the guys that if they went to New York immediately, they would be championship contenders, right? Like those guys, they're a little bit further out than. A Bradley Beal could make things interesting in New York. And I think, him and Lillard, Lillard's a killer, man. He's ridiculous at the end of games, man. He hits big shots. He's willing to do it, but so is Beal. Now, Beal's probably a pretty damn good complementary to Lillard, but they both are very ball dominant, like extremely ball dominant players. And having that in your team, I mean, we see that's kind of what the Nets have, but Harden knows that he can actually take a step back and play more of a point guard role.
Yeah,
and
he's more of a true point. Yeah, Dame Dollar is a pure bucket getter.
Exactly. And that's kind of what Kyrie was to LeBron, right? Like LeBron was more of the playmaker.
Yeah,
he took that scoring step back, right? But he did it when necessary. And Kyrie was kind of the baller. He was the guy that would cook on the court, man. Right. And that's what Lillard does. That's his MO. But can he take the step back if he's playing with a same level, if not better scorer than himself? And I think that's where it comes down to, because that's who we'd end up playing with if they're trying to bring a big name to New York, whether that be besides Kawhi. That's probably the only guy that would mesh pretty well with Lillard off the bat, like just because they're a little bit more complimentary just as players overall right now.
Otherwise, fitting with Lillard is a little tough because he's very ball dominant. He jacks up a lot of shots. Like you need, I would say, a true point guard or a true playmaker type of dude to play with Dame Dollar. But we'll see, man. We'll see. But I just have a hunch. What the Portland Trailblazers did this summer, this free agency.
Yeah, man.
One of the most embarrassing shots after this dude went on the Olympic stand and press conference be like, my team's not good enough. Yeah. He's pretty much calling out the GM, be like, yo, get me some better players. And there's no excuse. Like, you don't got cap space? Like what AK and Mark Eversley did, man. No cap space, sign and trade, man. You got to be able to use the cap and leverage that to your advantage. So no excuses. Like the Trailblazers legitimately added nobody. Like legit, not a single one that's even relevant. Like
nobody wants to go to Portland though.
It don't matter, man. Sign and trade,
throw
man.
Money. You got to throw money at them, but nobody wants to go.
Yeah,
to
free agency.
And Dame knows that, so Dame kind of,
It's the unfortunate way of being in bigger cities, man.
Well, I'm just saying, the Milwaukee Bucks were able to get Drew Holiday for Giannis.
Oh, okay, but he was leaving New Orleans, dude. It's not like it was, he's going from a small city to a small city, right? He's not, vice versa. Like, there's a reason.
I would say New Orleans is a bigger and better city than Milwaukee.
And Zoo, he's not
it's definitely a better party town, that's for sure.
When Lillard is traded, it's completely different because Drew is like the final piece to a puzzle. Lillard is like the first piece to your puzzle, right? So you're going to be asking for a lot more. He's going to be by himself on the team until they can either, make another trade, which who knows if they have enough for that, or wait for free agency, right? Whereas Drew got to join a team that was pretty much already ready. They just needed that final piece, right? So it's a little bit different in that sense, but it's tough, man, to move, knowing that you have to move cities to draw talent. It kind of sucks when you're that good. That's like the only downside to it if you're on a small franchise and you're really damn good, right? And you just can't get over that hump. He knows he has to leave, man.
Yeah, I'm just saying. Like, LeBron James had to leave Cleveland to win a championship, and he's one of the greatest players of all time. So Dame Dollar not at that level, man. Like it's hard. It's hard being a small city and trying to recruit guys. And obviously, CJ McCollum as a Robin has not been getting it done. So this guy needs to find a new one.
That's why Dirk's championship will always be held in high regard, man. That's why he did it in Dallas by himself.
And the only reason LeBron came back to Cleveland is because they had Kyrie.
Yeah.
Like they messed up the pick before. They got lucky. Yeah,
they got lucky.
And then they got Kyrie, or I think after Kyrie. But yeah, they got lucky and got Kyrie. So then it was kind of like, okay, I'll go back here because this guy's probably a top, 4 or 5 point guard. So I'm gonna go back here and play. And then he was able to finagle Love. So, but yeah, I think it's just so hard for the smaller markets to get players. I think Dame, his heart was in the right place. Talking about I want to win one from Portland. I want to do all that, but like you say, if your management is not the best, you're not going to get the players that you need to get. And then if they're not really killing the draft, because everybody's forget too, they drafted Zach Collins. He did absolutely nothing for him. Then he got to deal with San Antonio.
Always injured. Yeah,
he got to deal with San Antonio for I think it was 3 years, $24 million. I was like, he hadn't played.
I'm not gonna lie. I think San Antonio's a loser.
They are a loser. You're right.
Dougie big buckets. He paid the dude over $40 million.
Pays a shit.
They're tanking, dude. I think they are. They finally accepted that the rebuild is imminent, man. It's right in front of their face. It's just been staring at them for
It's a lot harder when you don't have a Tim Duncan as your franchise and not in Kawhi Leonard. Losing those two guys, franchise over after you lose guys like that. man. Ruined the relationship with Kawhi Leonard, but damn, man. Yeah, the San Antonio Spurs, not sure what they're doing. They're going full rebuild, young blood, but I want to call on another scrubby little franchise, the New Orleans Pelicans. Shout outs to David Griffin for giving us Lonzo Ball,
Thank
for
you, sir.
Tomas Satoransky, a second-round pick.
And Garrett Temple.
Hey, Garrett Temple, the good old bat, man. Thank you, David Griffin, for not demanding our first-round pick. Thank you, David Griffin, for not even taking our boy Laurie Marketing. So we got another trade asset.
Yep. Trade bait.
Oh, my God.
Yeah,
Zion?
I don't know what they're doing.
Zion? Well, I have a bad feeling because Zion, it was leaked early in the year that his family was upset at management for what they've been doing. And then I remember at the end of the year, they asked Zion Williamson in an interview, do you want Lonzo Ball to stay? And he's like, I would love him to stay. I would love to play with him. I love him as my point guard. And what they do? They flipped him for Tomas Satoransky.
That was just a middle finger to the Williams family, man.
Yeah, I don't know what that.
I mean, they look, if they're trying to look, once again, it's a small franchise trying to retain their best player, right? A generational. Talking about the Blazers screwing it up.
They lucky, man.
If the Pelicans continue to do this, man, they have zero chance that he'll even consider re-signing there, even if they were to try and entice him a bit, just because of how they treated him, man. You've seen players get in messes with management. You know, back in the day, you saw Jordan do it, man. He just didn't talk to him. Now that they have more power, he can do whatever he wants, and that's what he's going to end up doing. Who knows, man? Maybe Zion will be the one to go pair up with Lillard up in New York.
Maybe. I wouldn't be surprised, man. I would not be surprised about anything right now.
Because that's that. Even based on just this, I know that the Pelicans, you know, they have Brandon Ingram and they think, oh, we're good. They messed up on the Lonzo thing, man. They have no real future idea of what they need or want. There's no chemistry involved there. They fired their first-year head coach in Van Gundy, man. I mean, they're just in shambles.
And that trade at the draft.
Yeah.
Dude, to get rid of the bad contracts, they had to trade away their first-round pick. They were trying to get rid of the bad contracts of Steven Adams and Eric Bledsoe.
And the only thing that they won this year was probably just getting something back for Drew Holiday, man. That was probably the only thing that they did well the entire year. And that's not something that can materialize automatically. And Zion can see, oh yeah, this might make me want to stay, man. We don't know how those picks are going to turn out. Who the hell knows? This is them and the Trailblazers are in a very similar situation. They're just progressed a little bit. You know, the Blazers are further along, right? It's more imminent. But the way that the Pelicans are handling this, man, it's pun intended, trailing pretty quickly behind, man, what the Blazers are doing. So I don't know, man.
And if you think about it, New Orleans, they got CP3. They lost CP3.
Yep.
They had Anthony Davis.
Yep.
They lost AD. Now they get
lucky.
lucky. They get Zion Williamson. This franchise has been pretty lucky in the draft.
Yep.
Especially with 2 number 1 picks. These are transcendent players. And obviously CP3 third overall. Famers. Yeah, 3 of some the best basketball players of this generation. And they're messing it up. Really badly. And what Zion Williamson is looking right now is, you see his buddy, John Morant, Memphis Grizzlies, small market. They're making playoffs. They make good draft decisions. They're making good free agency moves. They're building a team around him. Zion must be like, what? They're in Memphis, man. They're getting it done. He's probably looking at, they're
Trey Young. They have good management.
They got good management. They got making good trades. And even all the other young stars. You see Trey Young, man, in Atlanta. They added a nice piece around Trey Young. They're making the playoffs, made it to the conference finals around the same age as Zion Williamson. Zion Williamson can't even get in the play-in tournament right now. Play-in tournament. I'm not even talking about playoffs. I'm talking about play-in.
With another all-star.
Yeah, with Brandon Ingram, who's a legitimate 20-plus point scorer, who's actually a really talented player. They just can't keep getting wins right, even though I think talent-wise last year, they were a really solid team, man. They were one of the more talented teams that didn't make the playoffs, so he's just looking around and just damn, man, what can I do? And I feel he's getting a little FOMO, man. Even the young stud, Luka Doncic, rookie contract, making it to the playoffs. So, he's the only
giving teams problems too. He's not just getting swept.
Oh yeah, man. And the thing is, man, he's just looking around. He's just he's falling behind his contemporaries right now, based on NBA success, because He hasn't done anything yet. Like, statistic-wise, he's like freaking Shaquille O'Neal putting up some of the greatest numbers of all time, shooting 60% and getting buckets like it's so easy. But the team success has not been there. And all you got to do is blame management and blame the decisions of a head coach. So, man, I feel like he's real pissed off, man. I don't know. He might be a future Knick, man. Who knows?
Yeah, it's possible. That's a couple years down the road. But, man, there are a couple losers. But, a lot of it was just the inaction instead of, just getting screwed over in a trade. But I think the Spurs just have finally accepted it. And I think that's why they were willing to give it up. They just wanted to blow it all up, man. I mean, at that point, what is DeMar going to do at 30? He'll be 32, I think, in 2 days. I mean, he's not going to bring the franchise back to the glory days, man. So why not try and get something back, even though they didn't get much? They did get, first rounder and Thaddeus Young, who's a good veteran guy to have on your team, but not going to be doing much for you. So unless Patty Mills goes Aussie mode, I don't know what's
Patty
going on.
Mills on the Brooklyn Nets now, man.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, he is.
That was a good
pickup.
Nice pickup.
That was a good pickup. Hey. Yeah,
he's another Olympic legend, man.
Yeah,
he goes to Australia, man. He's like Steph Curry, man.
I don't know what it is, man. He's just when he's got his country's flag on his chest.
That's what it is.
Into a different beast.
Yeah, when you're playing for your country, I just feel like it's a different type of zone you get in.
Personal
for your country.
Yeah, like you see Ricky Rubio, 38 points.
Yeah,
it's just different. It's just different.
He got 38 points in 40 minutes. Like that's more than his career high in the NBA.
Yeah. By far.
Like Ricky Rubio is an Olympic legend, man.
That might be 4x his points per game average for his career, man. But yeah, it's
you know what I also think about the Pelicans trade that just sums it all up. You give up what you give up for Lonzo Ball, right? You give up Satoransky, Garrett Temple, and a second-round pick. Then on the flip side, you do a signing trade with freaking Charlotte, and you give up a protected first-round pick for Devontae Graham. Like, what is going on? That's wild. That's unexcusable. Both of those trades should have lured me at least one decent to good player and 2 first-round picks at the minimum for both of those guys. And you got 1 first-round pick. Like, Thomas Satoransky is not going to start.
No. Dude, he's a backup. He's a $10 million backup.
Now, I did look to see. They did draft a guy because I just looked while you guys were talking. They got a guy named Kira Lewis, who's like I think a 6-foot point guard that they like a lot. So maybe he's going to be the starter now, but it's the only thing I can think of because, I mean, he got drafted in the first round, so they got to use him. But I don't know.
The West is going to be healthy.
Yeah. I think the Pelicans were just on I don't want to say panic, but it's just hard to
they should be panicking because David Griffin might get fired soon. Like, if Zion Williamson demands a trade, he's going to get fired because he's probably the sole reason why Zion Williamson does not want to play there. But
we'll see what happens in February with that deadline, man.
Oh, man. But yeah, I also got another loser. I just thought of another loser. The Boston Celtics, man.
Ooh.
They didn't do anything, man.
No, they didn't.
They didn't do anything. All they do got they got Enes Kanter.
They do that every year, dude. Boston is kind of, man. They do that every year with the whole we're waiting for the next big free agent. When, hey, here's a reality check. No one wants to come to Boston.
Yeah.
That is a thing, man.
But they might as well. I don't know. Like they do that I feel like they do that every free agency. Like they drafted well, so like they were able to keep Tatum and Brown. But it's like Kyrie went there and then he left. But outside of that, and really Kyrie got traded there. So it's like they really haven't got any big free agents since they won their championship in 2008. And that was
and those were signed.
They got Gordon Hayward. He left.
Yeah, but then he got hurt. So it was kind of just like a wash, I guess, signing. But that's the thing about Boston. I don't get it. Like, I mean, I don't think it'd be one of my favorites. If I was a star, I probably wouldn't want to go to Boston. But I think you could be more proactive in like trying to find stars that would be willing to go there. And I just feel like they're always like, hey, we're saving space for – because to me, they're thinking like, I guess they're thinking is they're going to save for Bradley Beal. But I don't necessarily like that fit with just those 3 and role players. I don't like that because that means Boston.
No, if they're getting Bradley Beal, they're gonna be asking for like Jaylen Brown.
Yeah,
I would say Jaylen.
No, I'm saying if like because he's got 1 year left, so if he goes into free agency, then he could just sign with Boston. So I guess that's why they're playing all that space.
That's like 3-2-3s, man. Like shooting guard, small forward. They could all 3 of them can play those. That's just. Look, man, you need a playmaking facilitator.
They needed a healthy Kemba. That's what they
needed. A healthy Kemba. They did, and honestly, hell, you could argue that they would have needed Kyle Lowry more than the Heat did. I mean, there's points where you just have to bite the bullet and be like, look, man, we'll pay you $30 million a year, Kyle Lowry, to come and just, give us 17 and 8 a game.
$30 million with the Boston Celtics or Miami Heat? Miami Heat.
No, absolutely. They would have probably had to offer him an even better contract than that, which would have been ridiculous. But if you're actually, look, it's Brad Stevens' first year, man. He just moved in, right, to the front office. He's probably not trying to just dive head first, right? He's trying to probably give himself a year, see how the things work. But when your stars are getting fed up, man, or even if they're not verbalizing it, or things aren't progressing, they're just kind of stagnant, man. They're just a stagnant team right now. They were bad last year. I know they got injuries and all that, but look, they do not have the supporting cast that they used to. They needed to do something. Maybe they will at the deadline. Who knows?
Probably not. I feel like Boston always they're all about draft capital and stuff.
Yeah.
And I love draft picks like everybody else, but stars win, bro.
Yep.
Man, and they wanted Lonzo Ball. This is surprising tidbit. They wanted to do a sign and trade to get Lonzo Ball and do a package around Marcus Smart, but Lonzo Ball did not want to go to the Boston Celtics.
Well, he's a clutch guy, so come on now. No clutch guys are going to Boston. That's the thing. Now that is a thing.
That's true.
I think ever since the Anthony Davis thing, I don't think the clutch people are big fans of Boston. So yeah, I don't, unless like maybe they get a clutch guy gets drafted to Boston. That'll be the only way a clutch guy ends up in Boston. But like trade, no.
And who knows? Maybe the Celtics agree with your statement, vice versa, and they won't draft any clutch players.
Well, that would just be stupid because if there's a clutch guy on the board that's like really good, I'm drafting the best available.
Hey, hey, man, maybe. If there's a team that might be that petty, it could be the Boston Celtics. So,
yeah, Boston is a franchise that's kind of just been sitting on their laurels with the whole draft picks and stuff. Like I said, they got to make. Like I said, I still feel like they should have made that move for Kawhi that year that he got traded to Toronto. If they would have made a move and traded whatever asset to get him to Boston, they would have won a championship that year. And then after that, if you like say they had to give up Jaylen Brown, right? And they got Kawhi and Tatum and whatever, and they won the championship that year. Then after this is gravy. Like Toronto's kind of in that position. Like they can rebuild, do whatever, draft these guys and trade whatever. They're good. They won the championship a couple years, and you can just, you can sit on that for a little while, especially with a town like Boston because they already have a bunch of championships. So it's like, they won another one, so hey, we already know they're going to get it back right. Because to me, I'm under the mindset I love Jaylen Brown, but if Tatum's the only guy who's not untradeable. Like everybody else can go. And I love Jaylen Brown, but if it means I can get another stud or studs, then I'm getting Jaylen Brown out of there. But that's just me. Who knows?
They need to do something. There are a lot of teams that are just the teams that are risking it, man. They're going to be the ones that are in contention. And I'm glad to say that my team's one of those ones right now. Let's go, baby. Keep progressing. 1 year at a time.
We back in the playoffs, man.
Then there's those teams, man, where the Bulls have been for years, where they just make the playoffs and lose, and you just get horrible draft picks. You don't bring anybody in, and that's where the teams we mentioned, man, that's where they're at right now. But hey, there's in the NBA, man, there's going to be a shock this year, like the Hawks. There's going to be something like that, like the Heat the year before. There's always one. Maybe it'll be the Bulls. Let's go.
Oh, it's going to be the Bulls, man. Oh my God, man. I'm so ready for the NBA season to start already, man. Yeah. I'm so ready.
This got me hyped, man. This past week got me hyped with all these moves. Not even just for the Bulls, but for everybody, man. There's been a lot of movement.
Yeah. There's a lot of movement in the NBA free agency world. Like I said, I didn't think there was going to be so much chatter, so much transaction, so many 3-way, 4-way trades. But that just goes to show you that the NBA free agency is, I guess, unpredictable. So we're going to see, like you said, Summer League starting, doing a couple of games, which I was surprised by that. It was so many games that came on
really
right
fast.
after free agency.
Yeah. Right after the draft, free agency, and then Summer
immediate.
League is legit the week after.
Yep.
Yeah. So, and today I think it's the Hall of Fame game is on right now. So it's a lot of starting to pick back up with the Summer League. That's going to carry us for a couple of days. And then, like you say, there's going to be, I think I was reading a quote where it's like 27 weeks until there's no more football. So it's like basically from this weekend on, it's going to be football every week, on every week. So, I'm getting ready for that. I think a lot of the reels are going to be geared towards football and basketball. Depending on who shows out in the Summer League, I may put some reels up. I think Davion Mitchell had a really good game.
Not surprised, man.
That's another one I'm going to be really quick. That's another one I'm going to be interested in what they do because they have Halliburton, him, and Fox. That's going to be
they have a
real
lot of
interesting
point guards, man.
Yeah.
A lot
Really
of they're all pretty good. So I don't know about the team, but they got a lot of talent at the point guard position, Sacramento.
Yeah. Wondering what they're going to do with
tradable pieces.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm wondering.
De'Aaron
Fox
Sacramento's getting anybody.
Yeah. Honestly. And God, that damn Marvin Bagley pick, man. That's tough. I'm not sure if he's on his last year or he's going to get traded, but yeah, that was a tough draft pick.
Man, he might go down as known as the Darko of the draft, man. You got Trey Young, Luka Doncic going right after you.
Yeah, that was
bro.
Yeah. Yep, the Hashim.
I think there was a little bit more to that, though. I think there was something. He was pissed at the owner or somebody, the GM, Luka's parents or whatever. So, but hey,
yeah, his parents demanded a trade for him, man. His parents demanded a trade for him, man.
Yeah. But as always, make sure you guys follow bullheaded_pod. I'll be posting content daily, also doing things on the stories, updates for football, basketball. Hopefully, our men bring out the W with the France gold medal game. I'll probably do a reel about that.
Zach LaVine, Olympian gold, Olympian, man.
Turn it up. He's got to turn it up.
Let's go.
But as usual, for me, Zoo and P-Bush,